Greetings, Commanders. This is a short video to get my limited take on what I just heard. I want to give full credit to Burpit and his recent video 3 hours ago that informed me of all of the changes FDEV made to the fleet carriers. I know I've made my opinion loud and clear to those who are in my circles. Don't know how to leave a link in the description. However, Burpit did release a video that was very informative and very helpful, and I want to give him a shout out for that. As far as the changes to the prices, you all know that I ultimately didn't really care about how expensive they were. It's an in-game content. Price is not the issue. Just play longer, earn your keep. However, one of my main concerns regarding the fleet carriers, super excited that they're including explorers. That is a big win because the vast majority of our player base are explorers. But one of the big things that I have to say is the upkeep. It's not about the upkeep cost. It's about the upkeep actually costing. I understand that they don't want a bunch of derelict carriers floating around owned by people who don't play the game anymore. That could easily be solved by adding a timer, a login timer. If you don't log in for a while, it does basically what your ship does when you go into
How do you win? You didn't tell him
someone's crew. When you go into multiplayer, your ship is just kind of phased out of existence into solo. That would be fine for fleet carriers. The major investment that it used to be, yes, everyone hated that. That was not my concern. My concern was its accessibility to all player bases. Excuse me, got a little bit of a cold here. No, it's not Corona. However, I don't like that you can't own a fleet carrier. You can only lease it with no option to buy, and that's basically what this is. If you always have to chunk up money to keep it, then you never really own it. And just like the bank, they will take it if you miss too many payments. I don't like that. I am 100% against that. A player should be able to own a fleet carrier, and if they stop playing the game, it should still be there for them when they get back. Okay? That's just my opinion. I hate that. Another thing that I am not seeing on any of these videos, for those of you who know me, I can't sign into the forums, so ultimately I can't really read the stuff myself. So feel free to leave a comment in this section below for comments. Sorry about that. If I'm ignorant to something, I am all about educating myself. But I'm not seeing how these help PvPers and pirates. They've said absolutely nothing about whether or not the cargo will be piratable, how these fleet carriers are going to defend themselves in the absence of their owner, how they can be damaged, what kind of influence them being damaged will have on the commander or their accessibility. I don't PvP all the time, but I know a lot of PvPers that are really distraught at how they're being left out of in-game content. If it's going to create a target for rival factions, aka rival squadrons, or just people with a vendetta to get back at you. For example, I've made my fair share of enemies in this game. If there's a way that they can be attacked, or they can force my carrier to go offline or something of that nature, they should be able to do that. However, that's also going to bring the question of should they be able to do it in solo and private, because, well, we should be able to defend it, or we should know whether or not it's going to be able to defend itself. These are things that are being completely ignored, disregarded, not even thought about. Yes, the PvP community is a very small percent of the overall community. However, they do exist. They have been here since day one. These fleet carriers offer absolutely nothing to them. Why? Why are they being ignored? Why are they being completely left out? I think that Frontier should seriously think about this. Our PvPers are some of our most dedicated players. When you watch Twitch, if you watch Elite Dangerous on Twitch, yes, there are a lot of explorers. Yes, there are a lot of miners. But the most active communities are the PvPers, not just the gankers. There are white knights out there. There is argument to whether or not I fall under that category. We won't get into that just now. Feel free to leave a comment below. But Frontier has got to address. They addressed the universal cartographics for explorers. That's amazing. That's awesome. And I actually like the way they did it. No complaint there. That's a home run, and that was a needed connection with that archetype of player. That they needed that. However, they need something for a balanced something for all players, not just most of the players. Maybe not so much a reason for a PvPer to want to buy one, but maybe some sort of interaction that the pirate factions of this game can still stay connected to the community. Yes, I can play in private and I don't have to worry about pirates. Yes, I can block a griefer and prevent instancing from them. I don't do this, but it is an option for other commanders. Our carrier should be no different when it comes to our ships, even though we don't technically ever own it. We just lease it. There should be some sort of connection to the whole community with your ship, much like when you're playing in open. Your ship is subject to whomever's whims decide to take it upon themselves to interact with you. Some of my favorite things to do with commanders in Boran is not to gank them. It's not to attack them. It's to interdict them if their ship is unnamed and ask them politely to name their ship, to personalize it, to make it personal. Just to show them that not all interactions are negative in the game. However, there should still be that fear. You know, you should not be able to just buy lease this massive ship and there be no threat of losing it aside from not paying for it anymore. I would like to see, and the sole purpose for this is, one, I don't like the fact that you can't own it, that it can only be leased. It's cheaper, yes, ooh, yay. That is not good enough. I don't like never owning something that I'm putting my game credits in. Once again, I want to know how this fleet carrier can or cannot, or why it can or cannot, interact with piracy factions. And I'm not just talking about accessibility, whether they can use it or not. I want to know if it can be damaged. I want to know if it can be pirated. And I want to know if it can be damaged and pirated, how it's repaired, how you can protect it, or what measures you can take to prevent these measures. I mean, there's got to be a balance, but this is an aspect of the game that is being completely and utterly ignored and left out. I understand that maybe it's a small voice in the community, but the LGBT community have their platform. They have their importance in the world, even though they are 2% of the population as a whole. I don't know if that just cut out, but you know, the LGBT community counts, even though they're only 2%. The PvP, the griefers, and the white knights, the combat in the game should count as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Agree, disagree, like, subscribe, whatever you guys got to do. Fly dangerously, commanders. See you next time.
I'm going to have to remove the sound from the clip, but wow.